that is the, you know, the highest priority here. We can actually take a look. Here's a video taking a look from
photo from Louis Chase here, and I think this is what you're referring to, Andy. This is near the Palmer Hills Golf Course, or the parking lot right there, it looks like.
Yeah, the first picture we got was just the car. Now looks like maybe the rescue vehicle has showed up, so that's a good thing. But yeah, that's right by Palmer Hills. That's Middle Road in Bettendorf. And again, you can see how high the water is there. And so this is near one of the golf courses, the golf course in Bettendorf, one of them anyway. And we have live video from Emice, or near Emice, over on the west side of Davenport. Yeah, so not only is this a water issue and a flooding issue, especially in Davenport, there are trees down. So Jim, you were referencing this earlier with the group that you're in. That is significant tree damage at
Very
Emice
reliable
Park.
sources, yes. And there's flooding along the street there too. I know that it probably caused some. I think maybe the flooding is probably drained off a little bit, but you can see the ponding there is significant, and that's a lot of damage right near the golf course there in Emice as well. It's a very popular recreational area, and I drive by there quite a bit, and not good for the people who live there.
Yeah, that's a big tree snapped off there, right, well, up toward the top, but it's a...
And Emice suffered a lot of damage from the derecho a few years ago. They lost a lot of trees, so this is piling onto that problem they've already had.
Looks like a healthy tree, hard to say, but maybe not all of it. But again, that tree, obviously, that's not even the only damage. There are other tree branches down right there by
You can
Emice.
see behind down the street a little bit too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, down the street a little bit. So this is that road that you go, you turn off a Locust, you go down this road, and then eventually you run into Emice Golf Course. But they have baseball and softball diamonds all over there. Great park. I think even Duck Creek, maybe that bike path goes by there too.
And that looks like more tree down by, that would be the intersection with Locust too.
Yeah,
at the
closer
end
up by Locust, yeah. Yeah, so that's out by Davenport West. By Davenport North earlier, we had the significant flooding on North Ripley, where the water was just about to start going into some buildings there. Last update from that part of Davenport was that water had started to retreat a little bit, thank goodness. But I know that there, according to law enforcement, there are some businesses in Davenport that have had water coming into the business. We don't have the exact locations on that, but that was reported to the National Weather Service earlier. And I believe that was one of the things that led to them saying this could be a catastrophic flooding situation. So that's why we have to let everybody know.
Especially when you have areas that have a lot of basements too.
Yeah, basements.
Not a good week. Not a good night for basements.
Hopefully the sump pump is ready. If you don't have power, I hope that you have a battery backup. I know those stresses that can literally really stress people out. Well, specifically me anyway. So yeah, but I get it. But yeah, basements, there's no doubt there's water in basements all over the place around the Quad Cities. Basements, they're good at times. They're not good on days like this though. Unless you're in the basement hiding from a tornado, then it would still be very handy. Okay, so we continue to just kind of, from that one spot, see multiple trees that were damaged and snapped off. So again, that's our photographer. Photojournalist, is that the proper term?
Yeah, I believe
now?
Mike Cologne is out there.
That is Mike Cologne. Yep, there he is. There goes a Davenport police officer. Yeah, so again, a lot of this all around the Quad Cities. And unfortunately, again, the rain has stopped. We had great video from Rhythm City earlier. It was just raining so much.
But you can see a lot of the water that is ponded up even on that side street right there as well.
That's a lot of tree damage. I mean, they're literally having to drive around the downed trees. Again, that's great video from Mike Cologne. These are some trucks there. I'm not sure if some of them will even pull over and start helping. Who knows? But maybe they'll just be on their way. That's fine too. But again, a lot of tree damage over there by Emice Park and Emice Golf Course, west side of Davenport. And again, not a big surprise. It was at the Davenport Airport where we measured a wind gust of 72 miles per hour. Speaking of that, Sean, let's go back over to the storm reports here on our pinpoint Doppler radar and do the thing we did earlier. We're going to try to wipe out the ones from yesterday. So we're just going to go with the last 12 hours or so, see if anything else. Yeah, so we have a lot of them piling up in the Metro Quad Cities now. Let's zoom in and we're going to click on the Metro. Whoa, we're going to click on the Metro Quad Cities now. And you can go ahead, Sean, and click on a few of these things. We'll read the damage as you're clicking up the reports. That's the wind earlier that probably caused some of these trees to go down. 72 miles per hour at the airport. And then we also have in Parkview, that's, real close to, well, if we're going to continue with the golf course theme, that's pretty close to Glens Creek up by Scott County Park. That's Long Grove and Parkview area. So we had a flash flood reported in Davenport, obviously, at 6:48. Again, multiple. Each little spot where you see a little house on it, that's a flash flood report or some kind of a water flooding report. So we have multiple of those in Davenport between 6 and 7. And we're going to have one of those in Rock Island, Moline, real close to the border. So that is in Rock Island, the one we're looking at there. That's definitely in Rock Island, not too far from downtown Rock Island. Sean, let's open up your mic. When you click on that, you get the little update from the National Weather Service. What info did they include with this report? Did they say where?
So this is the intersection of River Drive and 19th Street over in Moline. That is where that flash flood report is coming from around 7:23 p.m. So around 9 or so minutes ago.
You know, it's pretty close to downtown, right by Vibrant Arena.
Yeah,
Not far from there at all.
Okay, so we got to check the plot on that because that address looks like it would be a little bit off from what we said. But anyway, flash flooding going on all around the area, including Rock Island, including Moline, Davenport, and we've had some in Bettendorf too. Thunderstorm wind damage, Davenport 6:39, so a little less than an hour ago. But again, the way it works is the National Weather Service, they'll continue to put more and more data into this database, and we're going to see more and more things fill in. There's no doubt about that. So again, storm reports, they continue to pile up. The flooding continues to be an issue, and that's what we're looking at here on our storm reports map. All right, we've mentioned multiple times here over the last 30 minutes that in the Quad Cities we had a little bit of a break, but we expect that rain to pick up again, and that is about to be the case here within the next 5-10 minutes or so. I mentioned the green earlier. When you have the green, it's relatively light rain. It's nothing like the rain that was coming down earlier. Where you have the yellow and orange, moderate rain, we'll notice that, and then where you have the red, and we don't want to see any more purple on the radar color table, but that's where it's really heavy rain. And some of this heavy rain is coming right back into the Quad Cities. So, you know, things might have gotten just slightly better over the last hour. They'll probably get a little worse again over the next hour as the rain does pick up again. Sean, let's loop this so we can see the exact trajectory and movement. That was the real bad rain. And now we have more rain coming in here. So again, into the Quad Cities, we are going to start getting more rain again as the ongoing threat does continue here as we have a catastrophic, National Weather Service terminology. That's the terminology. That's one level of warning that they have now. That they don't just throw around words just to see if it sticks or not. But that is a catastrophic threat from the flash flooding in the Quad Cities right now, and that warning is going to go for another hour and a half or a little bit longer than that. So again, that's the flash flood warning, and with more showers and storms funneling into the Quad Cities, that's what we are looking at. All right, I didn't hear the last couple things.
We've got another photo coming up. This is from Mitch Tollerud. We can see there's a significant flooding of this van going right into, this is right near St. Ambrose University, and you can just see this van going right to, almost looks like a ripple effect there,
yeah, and that might be
almost like a river is flowing in that section right there, where you can see the water feeding from the right side there.
It might be from that car that drove by it just probably a few seconds earlier that you see over on the right.
A wave, yeah.
Yeah, so this is right by St. Ambrose, so that's not too far from Locust. That's by Central Park. That's right kind of in central Davenport. So again, we've seen this from all sides of Davenport. We've seen it from portions of Bettendorf, Scott County. Yeah, real bad. So here's a truck that's up. This is River Drive in Davenport. Look at all of that water flowing there. And again, so, you know, some of the water higher than others, but again, this is from Davenport. We appreciate this video coming in. I assume, is this from one of our coworkers?
It puts a ton of stress on the drainage system too, because the water's looking for somewhere to go, and it can't go all the same place at once. That's the problem, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's really nothing right now soaking into yards and everything. It's just running off into the street, puts it into the drains. And this is that video back over by E-Mice again. You can see a couple of guys out there, some cars driving by, and again, we'll show you some of those trees heavily damaged. A lot of cleanup work to be done. This will be one of those days where if you're in some of these places affected, you might hear a chainsaw or two humming along tomorrow as we do continue to deal with this. You know, just for people who are, you know, kind of watching here, maybe we could get a lower third or some kind of a super up that mentions catastrophic flash flooding. Let's have that on the ready just so people know exactly what's going on here in case we don't mention it. We want everyone to know whether they hear it from us or whether they see it on the screen. I'd like for that. See if we can't get a super that we throw up every once in a while that just talks about the breaking news and how it is again, catastrophic flash flood warning for the Quad Cities. And
some people helping out here, trying to get the tree off of the street here so cars can pass easier. And I think it might even be blocking some homes there because that is a neighborhood. Because on the left side where they're pulling to is where the park is and the golf course and the driving range. And to the right, there are homes. So hopefully those people will have access to at least get out of their homes when things do clear up.
Yeah, and that's those look like two
Very large
Two young,
trees.
strong men, you know, like they're not carrying around twigs, that's for sure. That was a big branch they were hauling out of the way, and we'll see.
Heroes on this Friday night.
Yeah,
really.
if they go back at it again, maybe pick up another one. All right, good. We don't need anyone taking a fall or whatever. I remember the news blooper where there's some lady talking to some people, and they say how they love running in the snow, and then they run 10 yards away and completely wipe out. Don't want that to happen to these good guys here who helping kind of clear the road over by Emice Golf Course, and they're still at it. And again, couple cars going through. So again, there you go. Catastrophic flash flood warning for the Quad Cities. That's going on right now. And again, heavy rain coming right back into the area. There's a car there, obviously, with its hazard lights on. So this is the flash flooding. And this is why one of the reasons we're still continuing our coverage tonight, obviously, is because we don't believe the threat is over. And neither do the meteorologists at the National Weather Service. Are, kind of co-workers when it comes to keeping everybody safe. So there is some good news here. Again, the worst of this heavy rain here, this is going to slide southeast of the Quad Cities and eventually end up. All right, so here's another update coming in. This is going to be, I don't think it's going to be a tornado warning. It's going to probably be an update to the catastrophic flood warning for the Quad Cities. So I'll go ahead and pick up my phone like everybody's doing right now. Flash flood emergency till 4 a.m. now. So that's been extended quite a bit. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area subject to flooding or under an evacuation order. That's how serious it is. If you didn't pick up your phone just now to read it, if you got that, everybody did in the Quad Cities pretty much. That's what the warning is telling you. A catastrophic, potentially life-threatening flash flood emergency happening right now in the Quad Cities. Here's that video from earlier. You can see one truck going by, and this is just an assortment of video to show you the just mass amounts of water. These thunderstorms just dropping millions of gallons of water on us, and well, the ground's already saturated, so there's just not a lot of places for it to go. And the sewers, they just can't keep up. The storm drains, they just can't keep up. Here's the video from Max. This is Cypress over in Bettendorf. I think this neighborhood's not too far from where the old Chicago used to be. I think that restaurant closed down, but not too far away from that location. Over in Bettendorf, so that's where these houses are, and again, they have some flooding as well. That video there, thanks to Max from a little bit earlier.
Spruce Hills and Utica Ridge Road,
evening.
then kind of off the
yeah,
there.
Yeah, not even too far from Interstate 74. Right. So that's that location. Again, one of many locations that has dealt with extreme flooding or extreme wind or a combination of the two. Here's video from Eric earlier. And that was bad. Here's some video from Tyler Kidwell from real close to the building here.
Yeah, right behind our station here. This is the alley, but you can see just the downspouts are just super saturated and busy just to try to keep up with the rain that's just been gushing all evening long.
And there is a drain there that's trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Again, there's just too much water. Has anyone heard anything from Tyler? He's an employee here, and he was the one heading down toward downtown Moline to see what he could get as far as flash flood video goes from there. Haven't seen that video just yet. I assume he might still be on scene getting video, or maybe he's on his way back. I just don't know if anyone has heard about that. Here's video, AJ Stratton, again, just all kinds of video. There's even a little bit of mammatus clouds there. When you have extreme turbulence in the sky during a thunderstorm, sometimes after a thunderstorm, you get those clouds that look like that, basically. There again, mammatus clouds, just a little bit of that on the underside of the thunderstorm from earlier. This still remains one of the more concerning pieces of video that we had. This was relatively early on. I think these people likely just caught by surprise by the volume of water, and as they were driving into it, they probably weren't exactly sure what to do. What you want to do is you don't want to get to this point, that's for sure. And then at this point in time, again, if the water keeps rising above the car, then eventually your car is going to be carried away, which can be real problematic. Or if it starts coming in your car, obviously, then you need to get out of there. But so that's something, again, a little lesson. It's just best to not get to this point if you can avoid it. So that's why we always say, turn around, don't drown. All right, so here we have, looks like some wind damage. You can't tell if that's a trampoline.
It looks like it.
Yeah, they often get flipped, turned upside down, sent over into the neighbor's yard or something like that. So where do we have this video from, or this picture from?
This looks like that's the driving range in the background from Emice Golf Course.
Okay. All right, do they have a Okay, so yeah, that's okay. So that's still Mike Cologne.
Yes.
Yeah, boy, there is a lot of damage in West Davenport, right by Locust Street, and really just right at this one particular.
That's a very large tree that certainly has been knocked down there.
Yeah, so that was probably, again, I assume this is from those winds that eventually were measured or clocked at almost 75 miles per hour in the Quad Cities at the National Weather Service on the north side of town. There's some of the thousands of people that lost power. Clearly, it's an emergency service that they're often offering, so they have a backup generator, so they were able to go off of that. And I don't believe they ever had to give up control. If they thought that there was a tornado threatening, they would have had to go to their storm shelter in the building, and one of the neighboring National Weather Service offices would have taken over. I did not see them mention that. Normally, if that happens, they let us know, but I did not see that, so that's a good thing for them. But again, they might still be dealing, with the power outages on that side of Davenport. Okay, we mentioned the rain, how it's going to pick up again. It'll happen first on the west side of the Quad Cities, which is exactly where this video is. This is live. You see the little bug up on the upper left-hand corner, and notice the rain picking up again. So you might be thinking, all right, well, here we go again. Trust me, it's not going to be as bad as what we had earlier. On the radar here behind me, it's more of a yellow and orange that's coming in. We do not have as much red. Sean, we'll just leave it right at that. We'll just zoom it back out a little bit, and we'll come up here. So there, you can see it in a little box there. Where we have that red, that's all sliding east of the Quad Cities. What's coming into the Quad Cities is the yellow and the orange. So don't get me wrong, it's going to be moderate rain. It's just not going to be as heavy as it was earlier. But again, that's what we're looking at there. Live video of the storm damage, and then radar data of the significant rain east of the Quad Cities right now. We'll likely have more flash flood warnings filling in. Kewaunee right now doesn't have one, but this rain's heading into Henry County. So I believe Henry County in Illinois will probably get a flash flood warning here in the near future as well, as we're looking at extremely heavy rain where those reds are around parts of the Quad Cities. All right, now let's go ahead and loop this again, Sean, like you were doing earlier. Appreciate that. And you're going to see there is some general movement off to the east, but again, just not enough of a shove in that direction. So that's why we are going to get clipped with more moderate rain here in the Quad Cities over the next hour or so, as the storm does again continue moving off to the northeast. Some kind of trampoline or some kind of sports equipment or something over there at Emice, that's flipped upside down. We have all kinds of tree damage and all kinds of places around the Quad Cities, and this is going to continue for a while longer, especially the flooding threat. Remember the alert we all just got on our cell phone? That time extended by hours. It's going to go until 4 a.m. So if we start getting more and more reports of, well, if people have to be rescued, if we have more property damage reports, we're going to share those for you with you right away. And I do expect for at least some of that to come in here over the next hour or so. Is right now, law enforcement officials, first responders, I have no doubt they are helping people around the Quad Cities right now who could be in danger. So they are doing their job. They are going to, again, help people. We appreciate that. Eventually, we get more info from them, but we don't need them telling us anything right now when they're out helping people. Again, Jim, likely some emergency situations around the Quad Cities right now.
Pretty much an all-hands-on-deck situation for emergency workers throughout the Quad Cities area tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and for good reason, and they train for all of this. Meteorologists at the National Weather Service, you could really sense there was even with the model data that we were seeing starting this morning, it was starting to look like not only do we have the severe weather threat, but we had the flood watch that I talked about all morning long, and that was knowing that the ground was already saturated and knowing that this was a scenario with the extreme humidity. Did you feel how muggy it was outside? That moisture is turning into this rain. That's exactly the way Mother Nature works. That's the way the process goes, and that is what's happening. There's a picture from Charlie. Here we go with Tammy. And again, on some of these pictures, if you need to take that lower third down, that's fine, so we can see a little more of the picture. Sean's standing by right now. He's going to give us a full radar update. Sean, you can do the talking. I'll grab the controls. Whatever you need, let me know.
Yeah, we are still seeing a lot of this torrential rainfall for right now, still under that catastrophic flash flood warning. And as we kind of let the radar loop here, we are still seeing some pretty intense thunderstorms as well. A lot of lightning and a lot of heavy rain. But as we kind of watch this loop here, it is still continuing to move eastward. A lot of that lightning that you're seeing is mainly staying down towards some of our southern areas, heading past Aledo and heading towards Burlington and Galesburg. You know, we've been talking how Galesburg, while all of this has been going on, has been staying relatively dry throughout the most part. But as we're continuing to watch this loop, it is slowly starting to make its way into Galesburg, just heading in towards Alexius and Monmouth right now, just off towards the west there. So Galesburg, you're going to start seeing some pretty heavy rainfall relatively soon, probably within the next couple of minutes or so. We're seeing a lot of heavy rainfall there. Though while we did see some of that rainfall around the purple colors, which saw rainfall amounts well around 15 inches of rain per hour, we're actually not seeing a lot of that purple right now. So we actually bring it towards the current radar loop that we have for right now. You can see just over Alexis, still seeing colors around red or so, so not as heavy as we were seeing around, again, that purple colors. We can actually see that it's slowly starting to dwindle down. Still a lot of heavy rainfall for right now, about to make its way into Galesburg and also starting to head into Kewanee as well, just a couple miles off towards the east there. So again, still seeing a lot of heavy rainfall there, although a lot of it is slowly starting to leave some of the areas affected by the flash flood warning. So we do still have the flash flood warning here just southwest of the Quad Cities over in Wapello, Aledo, and Muscatine right now. So they're actually starting to see things slowly begin to lighten up a little bit. Still seeing a lot of rainfall, around medium to moderate rain here. Here's another look at our satellite and radar to kind of show a lot of different warnings that we have currently going on, like our tornado watch that has been on since pretty much all day long. Thankfully, I haven't had any new tornado warnings for right now, and the only amount of severe thunderstorm warning that we're currently seeing is just off towards Princeton right now, over towards the eastern portions of our viewing area. So outside of that thunderstorm warning, we're actually not seeing any sort of areas with like thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. It is simply just flash flood warnings with a lot of heavy rainfall, torrential rainfall even. So yeah, there's a look at that satellite and radar. We're going to head back towards our warnings here to kind of show just where those warnings are, and kind of covering a pretty large portion of our area here to show the warnings outside of our satellite and radar here. There they are right now. So again, just a severe thunderstorm warning, actually a flash flood warning there. We can actually get some more information on that. That looks to have just popped up there because Princeton in that area is also seeing a lot of heavy rainfall. Not as bad as what we were seeing just a couple hours ago, but still a lot of rainfall where they could get some flooded roadways there. So if you are just joining us, we are seeing a torrential and catastrophic flash flood warning here in the Quad Cities. So we can pull up the pinpoint Doppler radar here. A lot of heavy rainfall. Things have slowed down for us here in the Quad Cities, so we're kind of seeing a little bit of a break in that rain as we zoom in here. So especially in Davenport is where we're seeing that catastrophic flash flooding. So, and this has just recently been extended to go on until 4 a.m. So, and that is because the threat of more rainfall is still there. The threat and the danger of that is still in effect, as we're still around a little bit of a lightness in the rainfall right now, but just off towards the west, we're going to be seeing some more rain slowly continuing to move eastward and probably bring the heavy rain back into the Quad Cities to add on to what has already been a pretty significant rain event. We were taking a look at some of the numbers. Again, the big danger for this flash flood warning is towards Davenport and Bettendorf, so the Iowa side of the Quad Cities here. They've already received well over 3 inches of rain throughout this pretty massive weather event that we've been seeing, whereas areas in the Illinois side of the Quad Cities only around 1 to 2 inches of rain. And as more rain is going to be continuing on, we can actually pull up the pull up the reflectivity to kind of show where that rainfall is for right now for the Quad Cities. We can pull that up in just a moment, kind of getting a look at where we currently are in terms of rainfall for right now. So we're continuing to see here. So still a little bit of light areas of rainfall right now. So a lot of green in the Quad Cities area here. But just looking off towards the west, it actually looks to have slowly lightened up a little bit. So we can see some more rain slowly continuing to move towards the northeast here, as we can see from these arrows. I'll move out of the way a little bit. Here's a little loop on our pinpoint Doppler radar. And with the motion of these storms, we can actually, kind of visualize from these from the arrows here. Thanks, Andy. Visualize these storms slowly moving towards the northeast here. Now, whereas the brunt of the heaviest of rains, as we can see further down to the south of what we're looking at right now, it is past the Quad Cities area, so we're not going to be getting any more of this more heavier rainfall down towards the south. This is about to make its way towards Galesburg. The brunt of that, thank you, Andy, for drawing out this shape here. This is where the more significant of these storms that we're still watching and still tracking for right now. A lot of heavy rainfall there, a lot of thunder and a lot of lightning there too. Now this portion of the storm is still going to continue to move slowly towards the northeast there. So while Princeton is still seeing some severe thunderstorms here and their own flash flood warning there, within the next couple hours or so, they're probably going to be seeing this area of these strong thunderstorms slowly moving into the area too. Now, for us here in the Quad Cities, where we have been tracking a lot of that heavy rain, things are slowly starting to slow down here. So we're taking a look at some of the rainfall here within the past couple of hours. And you can see just northeast of Mount Pleasant here, a lot of area of orange, red, and even a little bit of purple there. So that's 3, 4, maybe 5 inches of rain. Andy, what measurement is this? Is this the past 6 hours or past 12 hours?
This one we have it tabbed over for the last 6 hours. So this is all, it's basically everything from this event included on this graphic.
Okay, so this is the past 6 hours or so. This is essentially all of the rain that we have gotten since this has began. And we can take a look at some of those numbers. 4.6 inches of rain there just down towards the southwest and looking towards the Quad Cities here. Again, this is the past 6 hours. So this is showing the rainfall amounts that we have gotten since this whole event started. 2.3 inches of rain just north of Davenport, right along Interstate 74 here. 3.4 inches of rain just off of Highway 61, and just around Wolcott as well, 3.5 inches of rain. And as we have been saying, 3 inches just north of LeClaire as well. And as we have been talking about the big areas in danger from this severe flood warning is in the Davenport area. As you can see, a lot of that heavy rainfall there. But then you look towards areas around Rock Island and Moline, you can see more lighter colors there. So it really does kind of paint a difference in rainfall amounts, as Rock Island and Moline here saw a little bit less rain in the area. Look at that, only 1 inch of rain, barely here in Rock Island, 1 inch over in Moline, whereas, as we were just showing just a couple of seconds ago, we were seeing 3 inches of rain over in Davenport and Bettendorf. So really a pretty staunch difference of rainfall there, and that is why Davenport is the big area to that we are continuing to track in this flood warning here. So if you look at our back towards our radar here, this is still seeing a lot of that heavy rainfall right now, continuing to move slowly towards the northeast here. But we're actually starting to see a little bit of a light up in that rain, Andy, as you're over there kind of watching this radar here. As this continues to move eastward on this version of our pinpoint Doppler radar, things looking to continue to light up here, seeing a lot more green off towards the west of the Quad Cities that will slowly move in here. So still more rainfall to be adding into our flash flood warning. But Andy, you can kind of see here that doesn't look like it's going to be any worse than what we were seeing just a couple hours ago.
Good call on that radar. You're right too, Sean. A little more green showing up, so that's a good thing. We're happy about that. I think we have some more, it sounds like some new video. Then I'm going to read a couple of things here from the National Weather Service. But to the director, John, if you want to play that video. So this is Northwest Davenport. This is from Laura. We appreciate that. Again, as the storms were rolling in earlier, no doubt. So thank you for this video, Laura. Appreciate that. And again, we appreciate all the video that people have been sending in a lot. Okay, so we've been talking about Tyler Kidwell, an employee here, got some video from right outside the back door. Also, well, look at this. That might be a car that stalled out because of the water, had to be pushed out. But this is video from Moline, where we have, now we're hearing reports that 2 people were rescued in Moline. The good news is they were rescued. Feel bad that that even had to happen, but again, we are happy about that. But this is Vibrant Arena at the Mark. This is right by their parking lot. And again, this is an area that flooded really bad yesterday, and clearly it flooded again today. I assume that's the trouble that this car is having.
Yeah, we should not be surprised to see that sort of image.
Yeah, so, you know. Yeah, but again, that's
terrible.
what we're looking at. Fortunately, hopefully everyone's okay. Here's Rock Island, you know, and this is not something that just gets small cars or low-rider cars. This looks like a truck. Again, we're showing the video. I assume maybe it had some trouble because of some water. Can't say that for sure. Need to hear a little bit more. But even if that's not the case, it is true. These kind of floodwaters don't just affect cars that are real low to the ground. Even trucks can be affected. And again, I'm afraid maybe that's what happened to this one here. Here's another shot in Moline River Drive, it looks like. Somebody driving there. Can't tell, are they driving with the door open potentially? Maybe just seeing how deep it is.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make sure that they can get through it.
All right, they got through it, closed the door, and they're out of there. Here's some more video that continues. And this what you see there, again, like there's a lot of people who are going to do that. It's when the whole road is covered, and especially if it's for a block or a block and a half, because then it's almost impossible to know how deep it is. There's one of the power crews. There are going to be a lot of those hard-working line workers out again here over the next 12, 24. Hopefully it's not a 48 kind of hour thing, but sometimes when a lot of lines go down, it does take a couple of days, so we'll have to wait and see what happens as far as that goes. So this is on, yeah, this looks like maybe the road's down toward, well, there's the American Red Cross, so this is real close to the Vibrant Arena as well. I don't think this is too far from the Floreciente neighborhood in Moline, right real close to there, kind of on the border between Rock Island and Moline.
And a big concern when you see these flooded cars, Andy, when they're stalled, a lot of these times they can't be fixed. These end up being total losses for insurance companies. And that's when we think about just the property loss that could be coming from this event. People get stuck in the flooding because a flooded car is done.
Yeah, and you don't, obviously the people you never think it's going to happen to you. Well, it's probably happened to a bunch of people in the Quad Cities tonight.
And thankfully, it sounds like people are okay. You know, it's not, they're not getting stuck in there drowning. That's the worst case scenario. We don't want to see any of that. Yeah, we certainly don't want to see people losing their property either, but that certainly is going to be the case for some people this evening.
Yeah, so I wanted to weigh in a little bit here and tell you why the decision to extend the catastrophic flash flood warning for the Quad Cities was extended till 4 a.m. So just a little while ago when they made the extension, according to the National Weather Service, they're still saying local law enforcement is reporting life-threatening flash flooding on many roads, including main thoroughfares in and near Davenport. There were numerous stalled vehicles as well as flooded first floors of residences and businesses. Duck Creek and Goose Creek are both well over and out of their banks. Between 2 and 4 inches of rain have fallen, with another 1 to 2 inches on the way. Indications the major flooding will persist for several more hours, so we have decided to extend the warning. One more time, it is a flash flood emergency for Davenport and Bettendorf. It is a particularly dangerous situation. Seek higher ground now if needed, and don't drive across any roads that are covered with water. Again, this is a flash flood emergency for what could be catastrophic damage around parts of the area right now. So again, we will continue to follow this for a while longer tonight, here at least for a little while, as again, the rain does continue. Now, with some of the heavier rain starting to slide east of the Quad Cities, that is a little bit of good news. We might be able to eventually send it back to programming and get most of the 8 o'clock hour show in. But again, right now, we still have the catastrophic flash flood warning that does continue around parts of the area. So we're going to go ahead and put multiple images up now. The one on the left, that's by Palmer Hills Golf Course. That car was stalled out there for a while. And the one on the right,
that's near Hickory
more
Grove.
trouble.
Hickory Grove Auto right off there in the parking lot.
Northwest Davenport also.
Yeah, I saw that spot in a
Hickory
while.
Grove.
We've been trying to get permission from Misty to show us, to share that photo with us. She did. We appreciate her taking the time with us. But yeah, there was one car that got submerged, and you can see even the front end now basically just done in the water there.
Yeah, so, okay, so that, again, this continues to be a major concern for us. We're going to show you we're going to go through the video one more time, and then we're going to prepare to send it back to our regular programming. As again, what we have heard from the National Weather Service is they do not have any additional info other than what law enforcement has been saying. So what we're going to do is we're going to get ready to send it back to our regular programming, and then we're going to come right back on if things get even a little bit worse. But again, it is notable that the rain is not going to be nearly as heavy over the next hour as it has been just over the last hour or so. But again, we have multiple pieces of video showing you this severe weather. First it was the wind, then it was the flooding. The flooding quickly took over and became the main story. And I think we're going to find more and more that has been the case with our mid-July severe weather event here on a Friday night. Again, video from each of the Quad Cities. We have video from Davenport, from Bettendorf, from Moline, from Rock Island, from East Moline. We have heard reports of some flooding in East Moline, although the further east you go, especially in Rock Island County, not Scott County, the better off the conditions have been. So a little bit of good news there. That's the video from Sean Foley. Just again, one of many pieces of video where we do have these cars going through all of the water. All right, I'm going to check with Sean and Jim, see if there's anything else that you guys wanted to add. But otherwise, with the heaviest rain now shifting east of the Quad Cities, I believe we're going to get ready to go ahead and send things back to programming.
Well, it's nice to know that we're getting closer to being in the clear. We are seeing some decline in the power outages. They're still very high. More just right around the 15,000 number. We were above 16,000, 14,600 in the Iowa side, 366 on the Illinois side of the Mississippi River. Again, the bulk of those in Davenport, more than 10,000, 1,500 in Bettendorf, about 2,000 in LeClaire. So the situation, it takes a while for Mid-American Energy crews to get there. And of course, our outlying areas probably experienced some power outages as well, but we know this certainly seemed to be a Quad City-centric event tonight, Andy.
Yeah, especially Quad Cities centric, and specifically Davenport into Bettendorf. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and send things back to our normal programming right now. We are going to continue monitoring this. We'll have a full wrap-up. Maybe it won't even be a wrap-up. It'll be an ongoing update on our Quad Cities News at 9, on Fox 18, also on our Quad Cities News at 10, on Local 4. So we're going to do that. And if anything takes a turn for the worse, we're going to jump back on right away and let you know. In the meantime, we're not going to leave you hanging. We will leave you information up on the bottom of the screen on all of our stations as well. Thanks for the pictures and the videos and everything, and I'm just going to stop talking now to get you to the
Feel free to keep them coming
as soon as possible. Yeah, find us on Facebook or send us an email if you want to include some of your pictures from tonight's devastating flash flooding.